Alright, so Georgia soccer is right around the corner in August. The Dogs just released their schedule. Georgia will have 10 games at Jack Turner Soccer Facility. I was actually about to say the softball stadium, but no, Georgia will have 10 games at Jack Turner Stadium. Kende McElwain's second year at Georgia. And the schedule is really good, so we're just going to just take a bite and get into it right here. Georgia will open up the season in an expedition game August 10th against Furman in Greenville. Georgia played an expedition game last year. I don't remember who it was against right now. I believe it was in Athens, though. So, Georgia and Furman going to play first game, expedition game. And then the madness starts. So let's just put it like that. The madness begins. Georgia will open up the season at UCLA in Los Angeles, California. The Dogs will be playing the Bruins at UCLA. That game's going to be 10 p.m. I hope that's on a Saturday or a Friday. And then the game every college soccer fan has been waiting for. Kende McElwain will make his return trip to USC. Georgia will face the Trojans. Of course, Coach McElwain was the coach for USC. He won like 2 or 3 titles there. USC is a wonderful soccer program. They are one of the best in the NCAA. This game will be interesting to watch. This will be one of the most watched games of the season. You're going to have to watch this game. It is must watch TV. This is where you're going to find. This is like what Duke was last year. You're going to find out if Georgia is ready to step. Georgia soccer has been there. I'll say basketball. Georgia soccer is there, man. But can they take the next step? Can they take the higher step? And you're going to see that in this game. And then a homestand, a free game homestand. Georgia will play the newly added in the Big 12, the University of Central Florida. I don't know much to say about that. I believe they'll be in the Big 12 in soccer too. I don't know. They're going to play the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And then they're going to end the home stretch with Southern Mississippi. They are in the Sun Belt in soccer too. So Georgia has history with others against those teams in other sports. Not necessarily soccer. This is going to be from the first time some of these teams have played Georgia. So it's going to be really interesting. 3-game home stretch. You're going to have to win those games. Because let's be real here. If you're coming off 2 losses to UCLA and USC, you're going to have to beat UCF, Minnesota, and Southern Miss. And then the Dogs go right down the road to Statesboro to take on Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern soccer was a great. They struggled a lot last year, but they will be a lot better this year. Georgia Southern's problem, man, they just couldn't get a game in the beginning of the season last year. I remember they were getting postponed or canceled. So Georgia Southern had it a little rough last year, but Georgia's going to beat Georgia Southern too. Georgia then returns home to play Clemson. The Clemson Tigers, Georgia and Clemson are rivals, so this game is going to be, you're ready for it to happen. Clemson, once again, is a team where, man, they have been a thorn in Georgia's side the last few years. I'll respect the Clemson, but Georgia's going to have to win the game. And then they'll go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. Alabama is a great soccer team too. This game caught me off guard. Georgia will end non-conference play against San Francisco University. That is absolutely bizarre. I have no idea how that game came into place. You don't think about Georgia playing teams like San Francisco, but Georgia's going to play 3 teams in the West Coast this year. That is crazy. So then after San Francisco, Georgia will stay in Athens to play LSU. LSU's a solid soccer team too. They'll go down the road to play. They'll go on the road to play Missouri. They get to play Vanderbilt. They'll get to play Arkansas in Fayetteville. October 8th, they'll play Florida in Athens. And then after that, they'll go to Knoxville to play Tennessee. And then the last 3 games of the year, man, these are crucial. It came down last year. Georgia needed to win the last game of the season to get a bye in the SEC tournament. They did, or they didn't win. They tied with Mississippi State. But Georgia will play Kentucky in Athens. They'll go on the road to play South Carolina, and then Georgia will end the season against arguably one of their biggest rivals, in my opinion, the Auburn Tigers. 10 home games at Jack Turner Stadium. We need Dog Nation to come out. They did for the last few games of the year. Even the Florida State game, that was the loudest I've ever heard Jack Turner Stadium. And I've watched a lot of these games. Was that Florida State game? Georgia did go on to lose that game. But still, it was one of the loudest times I've ever heard a stadium. It was the loudest I've ever heard a stadium. Georgia's 10 home games are UCF, Minnesota, Southern Miss, Clemson, San Francisco, LSU, Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn. So we're gonna need support. We can't do this on our own. Coach McElwain will have these guys ready to play. I'm telling you, Georgia soccer can win the SEC this year. That's how big the expectations will be. But August is almost here. Georgia soccer is almost here. We're in the middle of June, get July, and then baby, it's soccer season. I was about to say football. That's what it's called in Britain, football. We call it soccer. So it's almost soccer season. So it don't matter if it's soccer or football. I am pumped up for some Georgia soccer. Soccer is one of the best sports on earth. It's very underrated. And just the fact I get the pleasure. I called a few Georgia games this year on our streams. We really had a fun time. So we're going to do that again if willing to. If I haven't recovered from surgery, then so be it. But we do hope we get to do some of these Georgia soccer games this year. It is one of the best sports in the athletic program. So let's go Dogs.